back, everybody. Dragon's Demize here from Origins 2019. We're sitting down now with Hunter Shelburne from Pandasaurus Games. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to be doing one of our Jenga interviews. Quick refresh for our Jenga interviews. The blue blocks, whenever they get pulled out, means that I'll be asking questions about his game or games or the games from Pandasaurus. Red, questions about him personally, time in the industry, how did he get involved, stuff like that. And then green is whatever we want, frankly. So traditionally, first poll goes to you.
So blue is about the game.
Blue is about the game.
Blue is about the game. Let's see if I can find a blue one here.
It's a good place to start.
Oh my God, why did I do that?
Okay, well maybe not that is a good place to start.
I think I got it. Oh. Not two questions about the game. Just one.
We can roll it, in together. It works. Right. So the game that you have for us, sort of set out on the table, is called Dead Man's Cabal.
Yes.
So which is, I gather, a game where you are a necromancer trying to build some friends?
Yes, you're trying to have a party and no one wants to come because you're a stinky necromancer. So
okay.
You're always dealing with dead bodies, so you're just going to make friends instead of having friends.
Okay. And how does it play? How do you build your friends?
So the way it works is these are the undead people over here, the party goers, as it were, and they all have different point values. The goal being to score the most points, have the most undead friends.
Okay.
The way you're making them is by placing skulls on this board over here and putting them in the orders that are on the card. So some might, like this one needs 4 skulls. You have to be able to draw a line between 4 skulls directly with no interruptions, essentially.
Okay.
To be able to create that. The way to do that, there's a lot of different options. It's got a lot of little interlocking actions, but they're all pretty simple. But the core of it is that you start with one of each color of skull, and each color of skull associates with one of the action boards. And every turn you're going to draw one from the bag. You put it over here on the board somewhere. You choose a row. They all kind of slide down, displacing them a bit, and you get to take that. And then you have this hand of 5 skulls, or however many skulls you have for that turn, and you get to choose one and what action you want to take with it. So if I want to do the red action, I can just discard this red skull, go over to this board or this sepulcher, and you can buy other skulls. If you don't have the right color, you can buy different colors of skulls. Or if I'm out of these cards, you start with 2 of the party goers.
Okay.
And if I want to buy one or just get one of those, you just discard a gold skull because it's got the gold color there. If I want to do some of these runes, which are kind of like little bonuses that you get when you complete different people.
Yeah, I'm seeing the different colors.
Yeah, if you have those runes, you can trade them in to get in-game scoring options over here.
Okay.
And you can, when you pick up one of these runes, you also get this little area kind of control thing going on the board, which is another way to score points. You can trade that white skull to do that action. And the cool skull for me is always the black skull, because that is the sanctum. That's kind of where all the action happens. That's where you're actually placing skulls, making the order, and if you've got the right order, that's when you get to resurrect the person from the dead.
Okay.
And that's really it. The cool thing with it is every time you do an action, you look at this board over here, and whatever the center column is, whatever the majority skull color is, you move that there, and then everyone gets to take that action. So, so no matter what turn it is, everyone's being interactive and playing. So it clicks on. There's a lot of cool options and stuff. You're going to be thinking a lot and strategizing, but since everyone's taking an action every turn, it usually plays in about an hour.
Right, and that's nice too, because then you avoid some of those pitfalls of oh, I haven't taken my turn in 20 minutes. I'm just going to fall asleep.
Yeah, and you can't. You're always having to pay attention because what they're doing is going to affect what skulls are available to you or what action you can, how much you can get out of your action and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I actually want to ask a follow-up question.
Sure. Here comes the other blue. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Oh no.
There we go. This is the good one. Found it. So you mentioned that the sanctum, sort of the black skull, that's one of the actions, and that's where you put these skulls on the board. Is that a shared space? Can other players use the infrastructure that you've built?
Yes, and that's the cool part with that too. I think that is a really good question. So if I've built something here with, say this guy needs 3 black skulls and 1 white skull, say I have this, and need one more black skull. Find one there. So let's say I've made that kind of a pattern. It goes, actually it needs to be there, but something like that.
Okay.
Once you've completed it, there'll be a little arrow on the card next to one of the skull types, and what that means is once you've done that, you actually take one of the skulls away, so you can kind of mess up the pattern that's already out there. People can't just ape your pattern exactly and go from there. They're going to have to take the action, put a skull down, and do something with it.
Okay, so a little bit of a defensive play there.
A little bit, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not too take that-y, but there's some moments where you can have stuff like that.
Sure. Your ball?
Let's see. You know what? Red's wild card. I'll do a red, I think.
Well, green's wild card. Red's
card.
questions about yourself. So.
Oh, no. Where's a green I could take? But it's, I think I'm gonna do a red just because it's in the middle here, and I'm scared to pull one from the edge at the moment.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's sad. I'm like, I'm gonna talk about myself for a while because I'm frightened. Oh dear.
All right, so questions about you.
Sure.
You are Hunter Shelburne. You work for
Yes.
Pandasaurus Games in, I gather, their marketing communications manager.
Yeah. I do like social media and marketing stuff. And
How did you come to have that position for Pandasaurus?
so I've been in the industry for about I guess this is my fourth-ish year in that range for like working for game companies. But yeah, I started out as I was a YouTuber. I did board game reviews back in the day, and I got a job after a few years doing that. I took a little time off from it, and I still went to all the cons and stuff, and I got a job at Steve Jackson Games, who do Munchkin, that game, and I was their communications guy for a while. I did community management, like social media and stuff.
Sure.
And then last year, I came over to Pandasaurus. We're all in Austin, so it was just one of those things that just worked out at the right time for me. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. I like working for a company in Austin where I'm at. We have a cool little tabletop community there, and there's actually companies popping up. So Pandasaurus has been around a while now, so they have a really awesome track record. Nathan and Molly are super cool, so I really like the games that they make. So it was an easy fit for me.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, I'll give you one of those green ones you were looking for.
Thanks. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, that would have been a good pull.
So I prepared you a little bit pre-video. So if you were stuck on a desert island and you could only bring one game, what would it be?
You prepared me, but I hadn't thought about it. I was like, boy, that's a good example. Good thing you won't ask that one.
Got him.
Man, that's a tough one. My collection is so big, but I'm trying to think of something that has really good replayability.
Right. If you're stuck there theoretically forever, theoretically alone.
I think it's not my favorite game of all time, but if I'm like stuck on an island forever,
right?
It either have to be something like Cosmic Encounter, where it's like there's so many combinations, you're almost never going to be like there's so many aliens and so many powers and all that stuff,
right?
You're almost never going to be finished with it, or something that's like super like one of those deep Euros that you can just play and play and play, like
you game out the theory.
Like you could never get bored of. Like for me, like it's not even that heavy, but like something like Concordia could do that. Like I could probably play that game forever just because it's just so simple, clean, and I'll be like, okay, now this time I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do a different strategy this time. I'm going to do something different this time and just change. There's so many different cards and stuff that you can just change your strategy every game and be different. But yeah, one of those two types of games, I'd say.
Okay, solid answers.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, I mean certainly reasonable.
Do this one here. You notice I'm just doing center stuff. I'm a coward.
Center.
I'm an ultimate coward.
It's safe, you know.
It's safe.
Nothing wrong with.
And I'm still almost like killing it. Jeez.
So Dead Man's Cabal out now, or are you all demoing it?
It's here at the show. This is just some early copies, so it's not fully out at retail or anything like that. We did initially kickstart it back in January, and it's going to be shipping to backers pretty soon. This was sent over the airship from the factory, but the boat's going to be landing, we're hoping, pretty soon, and we're going to be shipping probably around the end of this month.
Okay.
And then it'll be in stores probably in July.
Okay. So keep an eye out for it then. Very cool.
Absolutely.
And who's actually, I want to piggyback on this one.
Yeah.
Who designed this?
This is Daniel Newman. It's actually his first big box design. He's done another small card game, but he's a really prolific as far as like the design community goes. If you go to like Unpubs or any of the design conventions and things like that, you probably know him. You've probably played one of his games. He has lots of really cool games that people are kind of now picking up and grabbing, and so you'll probably see his name pop up a lot more over the next couple of years.
Right. Very cool. I think it's me.
Oh, it's
right? Didn't you just take that
It
blue?
is true. I just took the blue. Oh no.
I'm trying to think.
I have no control over my own destiny now.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going to make you talk about yourself.
That's fine.
So I would say that a majority of the people who we have on to do these types of Jenga interviews are designers. Have you ever thought about dabbling in board game design yourself? Has it maybe been aspiration for you?
It's out there. It's not necessarily an aspiration. I don't have the best mind for that part of it for the most part. Like I'm not a mathy guy, so a lot of the times when it comes to doing it, so I work with John Gilmore, who's done like Dinosaur Island, Wasteland Express. He's one of the best designers out in the business. So we hired him to like dev all our games essentially. So any games that we make come through him, and he's got just a great mind for like numbers in the field. Like he used to make robots. Like the guy's smart, and he knows that kind of stuff a lot more. For me, it's more like we make a pretty cool team in that regard. Like he'll see a game, and he like last night he just showed me this. He just told me a concept of a game, and I'm like, cool. What will that cost for us to make? What kind of price point can we put it at?
You
that
bring
kind
the
of stuff.
business side.
I like that. Like that part for me is like it's not. I'm not like the Gordon Gekko of board games where I'm like, how much money can I make off of this? It's more like I just want like I kind of have an idea of what things can sell for, what you can do. Like certain games, like I couldn't make it, like if we made Machi Koro as one of our like $30 games, like if you put that game in like a $60 box, if it had if its components were like crazy metal coins and stuff, people probably wouldn't buy it.
Right.
So you kind of have to have an idea of that kind of stuff going in. But I do like game design. I've messed around with some RPG stuff in the past. I'm actually working on something now because I had an idea for something. I've never really done that before. I really wanted to try it though, because it's RPGs are a little more on the writing side. So while I'm not amazing at the rule stuff, generally for me writing is kind of second nature. I've done as an English major and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you got
I
that
ended
creative
up in communications, but so it lets me kind of flex that a little bit. So that's kind of cool. But I envy designers, but I end up seeing myself more on like kind of, if I fall into a category in design, it'd probably be more like game development, like looking at something and trying to improve stuff like balance wise or theme wise, things like tweaking. I'm better at tweaking an existing thing than I'm making something from raw materials. Although with designers, not to take anything away from designers, a lot of designers take real inspiration from a lot of other sources and games and stuff like that. So it's all a mix. It's kind of melding together development, design, stuff like that. So and a lot of designers are doing really good dev work on their own stuff before we get it. So
all part of the process.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Very cool. All right, your brick.
I'm loath to talk about myself more, but the middles are reds all over the place.
You got a couple. I see. There's a green and a blue up here. You got that blue down there.
I'm gonna touch it, just see where we're at here. Oh no, we're good there. We're solid.
Back it off.
I understand, tower. I'm listening to you. But you have to listen to the tower. That is bad. That is a lot of shifting. That is not great.
Got it though. You're smooth.
Oh, I'm smooth. Thank you. I haven't heard that one. Yeah. I forgot what blue was. I just pulled the safest thing I could see.
So blue is about the game.
Okay, cool.
And I'm seeing, so we got a bunch of these components laid out. We talked a little bit about the skulls. We talked about, some of the cards, the guests, the bonus tokens. What are these like femurs?
So these femurs, these are another resource you can get. Usually what happens is when you go to one of these action spaces and take one of the actions, there's a few different options you can take. You can take like a basic action, which in this case, like over here, it's just take 3 bones. You can also take a card and take a bone, or once you have some bones in your supply, you can spin the bones to do stronger versions of the action. So it's kind of like a little bit of a recycling mechanism. You go to a place and either take a weak action and get like a weaker thing and then also a bone, or you spin the bones to get like a stronger, like here you get more cards, like this one you can spin a bone just to fill your hand up to 5.
Right.
This one over here you get to spin bones to buy additional skulls. You can spin bones to place more skulls or resurrect more people and buy more runes, things like that.
So kind of a way to scale the game into, early game, you don't have any femurs.
Yes.
And as you get later in the game, you can sort of unlock.
And exactly. That's another thing that happens is since your power starts scaling up and getting stronger, the game speeds up at that route too, because then you're looking around like, oh, I can now, like, if I want, complete 2 people over here because I'm able to play so many skulls and complete. I just have the resources for it.
Right.
So there's an element of that. Like you want to build up your bones. Do you want to spin them early and just kind of get this okay action, or like wait and just be like, here's my power turn of like 6 giant actions. These components were like a huge part of the game for us. When Daniel made this, he actually had skulls. It was some, I think it was like little plastic or wooden skulls or something like that. They weren't these exactly, but there's these skulls he found in a shop or something, and he's like, I want to make this a game component. So he started with the component.
Interesting.
That's another thing. Go back to like designers, like all designers kind of working a little bit differently. Like he started with a component. It didn't even start closest. He actually did a designer's diary for us on Board Game Geek, and it explains a little bit of the background, but it's essentially started like as a bluffing deduction game.
Okay.
And then it was like it just warped into a midweight Euro game.
Right. But the constant was always the skulls.
Like the skulls were always there, so we had to have the skulls.
Interesting.
The bones were there, we had to have bones, so we had to make the components look really cool for it.
And I mean, when you've got a feature as iconic as these skulls, like you got to build around it.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go.
You can go I'm down for whatever this. Oh, it's a wild card. I like it.
Yeah. Get a wild card going on. So another one that I sort of previewed before the video. What are some of your hobbies besides board games?
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned Austin. I know, great live music scene, great food scene.
And I do love food. I think it's fairly obvious. I do some live music. I collect a lot of stuff because I'm a nerd.
Okay.
I do a lot of movies. I go see a lot of movies in theaters. I just like watching in theaters. We have the Alamo Drafthouse there and some other places. We have really good Austin Film Society and stuff like that. So it shows a lot of classic movies and see a lot of black and white retro stuff. But I have a too large of an action figure collection in there. It's again, I'm just a nerd, so it's just I like action figures and geek stuff. And I used to do comics, but I had to stop because once you get to a certain point, you aren't reading the comics.
Right, you're just collecting.
Spending too much money at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I mean, board game collecting is it's not really. I try to tone back a little bit, but I have like 1,000 board games, and then I've got all the miniatures games and stuff. So I play a lot of those. I do hobby, building minis and painting minis and stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah,
how's your wall of shame?
It's getting sold.
Okay.
I'm working on. I have in my living room. There's these shelves, and people come in. It's like, wow, you have such a cool board game collection. I'm like, yes, I definitely don't have another room that's all board games.
That I never
It's just
play.
these shelves. But no, I have this pile in front of those shelves. It's all stuff that's being sold pretty soon. It's just a matter of you collect stuff, or you see something cheap and you're like, I gotta have it, or something new came out at Gen Con and you just get it. I'm trying to get over that a little bit. I'm at this con. I've been a lot better about it. I've only gotten one game today, and I feel good about that.
Taking it slow.
Yeah, I'm finding stuff that I'm like, I really will play that. And I'm actually demoing stuff a little bit more to try to do that. I was really bad impulse buyer, so I have a ton of stuff, but. Yeah, trying to control the wall of shame a bit, but yeah, Austin's super fun. I love going. There's all sorts of stuff to do all the time, so sensory overload almost. But it's also summer, so I try to stay inside. But it's already been 90, 95, 97. We had last weekend. My phone. Usually when my phone yells at me, it's like a flash flood warning or something, and it was like severe heat. Stay inside. It's 100. I was like, oh,
okay,
it's time for summer.
That's miserable. Thanks.
Good.
Oh yeah, Texas in the summer, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Kills you.
Right. You know what? We'll do another red one just because it's in front of me. It's been laughing at me this whole time. Oh no, it's not
that one.
Maybe we're not. Red was feeling good, but I think Red was decided it doesn't want to come to the party.
Right.
That looks bad. Let me try a blue down here. Oh, that's a beauty.
Easy peasy.
Now, what am I even doing with my life? Beautiful.
So Pandasaurus has a whole presence here at Origins this year.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Man's Cabal is one of the things that you're doing. What's another big game that you have?
So we have a Heil as well. It was an ESTA release with Mibo Games last year. They're a Portuguese company, and Heil is this kind of tetramino game where you're trying to make a street party. You're dropping little puzzle shaped pieces down, and you're trying to connect. Light colors. There's 4 different colors in the game, and every time you connect one, you'll get a little meeple guy in your party. Mm-hmm. And it's like a puzzle board. If you played any video game puzzle games, stuff like that, brick dropping puzzles.
Sure, yeah.
It's similar to that. If you complete lines, there's this little bar that moves up at the top that'll add additional visitors to it. And the more, pretty much in the game, the most guy with the most little meeples wins. It's a really cute game. It's a lot of fun. It's really pretty and colorful, and it's made by Portuguese designers. By a Portuguese company about a Portuguese festival, so it's really cool and thematic in that way. So the designers made Nippon and Madeira, so they are usually heavier Euro gamer guys, and instead they're doing a lighter, kind of like a little lighter, fluffier. Takes about 30 or 45 minutes to play.
Okay, sounds like fun. And is it, you say dropping, is it vertical a la?
It's lay flat,
okay,
but you slide them in. It's the theming of it, and it feels very much like those puzzle games because they're still dropping and sliding, and you actually have to fit them in there. You can't just place them in.
Right,
they have to fall onto the puzzle.
There has to be a directionality to it.
Yeah,
interesting. Very cool.
Yes.
Oh,
I'll let you go for one of the hard ones.
This is getting pretty precarious in here. What do we?
That was easy.
Oh, that's
what are
not
we
bad.
Doing with what is this? Jenga's broken, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we broke it.
We can't play this anymore. So you mentioned you've been, doing you did video work at first. You've kind of been working in board games for 4 or 5 years or so.
Yeah.
When did you start playing board games?
I started out gaming. I'd say there's like two phases because you always have that like that you're always playing board games as a kid. I did play a lot of board games though. Like generally, if I wasn't like playing Nintendo or something like that, I was playing one of the like mass market Hasbro. I had cool parents in one regard. In fact, they always got the cool weird games that had cool components that were like the Jumanji actual board game and stuff like that.
Sure.
So we dug a lot of that stuff. But my dad kind of got me in the late '90s with Risk. Like that was our first big like we played that all the time. Like every Saturday we get together to play Risk. And he got me into like the old Avalon Hill Ward games. Late '90s I was into like Pokemon. I started getting into Magic. Magic took over my life for like a decade.
It'll happen.
It's taken over my life again. Thank you, Magic Arena. But so I'd say like Magic the Gathering is kind of where I started. Like my first hobby, like that was my first like lifestyle of the game. I played a ton of Pokemon as well, but like that was the one I was able to buy with my own money.
Sure.
And so I was really into Magic. And then around 02 or 03, I guess, whenever Carcassonne came out was Carcassonne. It was that I guess it was maybe 03 or 04 when Betrayal at House on the Hill was out. So I was in a store and I was in the store in the mall and they had a Betrayal, and they had Carcassonne, and I think Robo Rally. And I was like, oh, they were all like super duper cheap. Like they were in the discount bin. So I was like, yeah, let's get those. And I didn't know anything about them. And I brought them home and I was like, it was one of those things like sometimes you'll see people post online nowadays where it's like, I got this as my game and I don't know if I like it and stuff like that. Like I got 3 home run games. Like I couldn't have started better. It was just like, this is an amazing game. This is my favorite game of all time. It was just incredible. And I was like, where have I been? So then I started looking online because I was really into Magic. I was looking on forums and stuff, and I ended up at Board Game Geek, and I thought I was there for Magic the Gathering stuff. I didn't know anything about there being more of those types of games, and I just went down the rabbit hole. Because back then it was like now it's really funny to me to see people on like Board Game Geek complain like, oh, it's the cult of the new. It's like it's always about like whatever the X games, whatever's number one, people are going to complain about. Whatever the top 50, they're going to complain about. But no, when I first joined Board Game Geek back in like 05, it was like everyone's like, Puerto Rico's number one and it's never not going to be number one, and that's how it's always going to be for the rest of my life. And like the worker, like, so I started in board games before worker placement games existed. That's kind of where that's my fun like line of demarcation. I was like, there are mechanics that are like the most popular mechanics that didn't physically exist when I started playing board games. So that's a lot of fun. Like drafting games didn't really exist outside of Magic. Yeah. So that's the kind of that's my line of demarcation. Was like Carcassonne was like my beginning point. I've just really been heavy into it ever since. Like it's been my main. Like it was high school, I guess, when I was really getting started, and I was like, I would love to work in board games. Like back then I was like, I don't know how I'll ever do that because I couldn't see it. I can't see jobs in board games. Right. I'm always like, I just have to make videos and hope someone sees that. And what it really is like, are you an accountant? Board game companies need accountants, stuff like that. It's just like, do you have a normal like thing that you can do? They need that too. They're a company. Right. So it's fun. It's like once you get in, you're like, I could have just done a job.
And so, just that happens to be a board game company.
Board games. Yeah, it was an interesting adventure. But I got in about early 2000s and just been pedal to the pedal ever since. Very cool. For better or worse to my wallet.
I mean, is it?
Oh boy.
Yeah. What can you even say?
I might go for another Reddit. I don't know. Oh, that's too easy. It's just I got to now.
Too easy. No such thing.
It's just falling out. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, well, because it's that single block right below it.
We have created a monster in that spot. That is not good.
So I want to go back a little bit, actually, and riff on something that you had mentioned previously. You were talking about when you were talking about your sort of tentative interest in game design. Sure. But more so, your recognition that that's maybe not your thing, but you have other valuable assets that you can bring. You have some sense of the practical elements. What is this going to cost? Is this scalable? Those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Do you find in your experience that that's been lacking in the board game industry? Or maybe, in my mind, the flashy thing that everybody pays attention to, everybody knows the names of their favorite designers.
Yes.
Nobody knows the names of their favorite procurement specialists.
Yes. I don't think it's actually too lacking in the board game industry. Honestly, I think what is lacking is actually in board game fans understanding what things cost.
Sure.
And I don't like using the word entitled, but there's this like sense of like, everyone wants to get things for the best possible price all the time, and it's sometimes there's that element, there's a little toxicity about that. Like buy stuff if you found this discount, fine. One of my YouTube series was like finding games at a discount. I get it, like I did the same thing. I fully understand, but like at the same time, don't get upset if people have a price and they're trying to stick to that price, and that's what that game costs for them to make. Like that's the thing. It's like we don't like people that are order like Nicole's the person who does a lot of our like parts. She looks at the stuff and is like, okay, this part costs us 25 cents to make this. Like she procures the actual pieces and parts, and like I don't think we're looking to be on the box or anything like that, but we would prefer not to be yelled at because our game is $60,
right? And
people are mad because it's like there's not enough in the Xbox for that. The reason these games cost a certain amount or are put out at a price point is because we're companies with overhead and we need to pay people, and that's kind of where it goes with that. Like it's an awareness thing versus a credit thing.
Sure,
there's no credit on that. It's just I think the designers honestly should. I think going to what you said, like people recognizing designers. I think more designers should be recognized. And I think a wider variety of people should be recognized. Like trying to make like John Gilmore, especially when he looks at games, he tries to make the game submission process more accessible to like a wider variety of people, genders, races, and stuff like that. Because there's a built-in bias to people that can go to conventions and be there and pay for that stuff and do that. So we'd love to have more people to get recognized like that. We did Nyctophobia last year. Was a pretty big thing for us, and that was a woman designer who's young. She started making the game. She was 17, and she was making it for her blind uncle who couldn't see. So she made a game that you played with blackout glasses.
Right.
And then it's like stuff like that is just like that jumps off the page. That's what draws people's attention, is really interesting.
Right.
So like I'd love to see more credit for designers, to be completely honest, and just see more people recognized for cool, interesting things. There's a lot of games out there, and there's a lot of cool people making games. I think that just they don't get the spotlight because there's so many big names that you're always going to see those big names all the time, like the Eric Plains of people I love those guys, and I just want to see more names other than that.
Well, hopefully we will.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, I think we got time for one more question.
Sure.
And it's my poll.
Please.
So I am going to go ahead.
Is it a wild?
Whoa, no.
Ooh, is that?
There we go.
There it is.
There's a safe one. It is a wild. You got to end on a wild. You know what's coming.
Oh, no. I don't.
What's your favorite donut?
Favorite donut? Whoa. That's out of left field. I like I like filled donuts. I do apple filled donuts or apple fritters too. I like if I'm at a donut shop, I do the apple fritter thing.
Very nice.
That's my jam.
Very nice. Yeah. I see what you did there.
Well, I didn't even see what I did there.
Unintentional.
My bad.
The best kind.
I worked with Munchkin for way too long.
Yeah. But yeah, Hunter Shelburne, thank you very much for taking the time to sit down with us.
Absolutely.
Would you care to push over the Jenga tower?
Of course, yes. This is going to be great.
Oh,
it's
two
among
hands.
the skulls. It's dead.
Well, thanks very much. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and stay tuned for more Origins 2019 coverage.